Hi, I'm David, welcome to the channel. I am currently clinging on to a 9.9 handicap, so I'm going to show you how to practice as a 9 handicap, trying to get better over winter. So the first thing I'm going to do is use this strike wedge. You might have already seen these on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, but essentially what this does, or the main thing I'm going to be using it for, is to help improve the low point of where I'm hitting the golf ball. So the idea is, whenever you're doing chipping, pitching, and you're doing iron approach shots, is you always want to be hitting the ball first and then hitting the ground after the ball. And that's going to give you the best contact, best spin, and the most consistency when you're hitting shots. What I've been noticing recently is that when I'm hitting these shots, I'm hitting slightly before the ball. So I'm getting a bit of inconsistent yardage, inconsistent strike, and that unfortunately has been leading to some higher scores. So this is the first thing I'm going to use, see how it feels, but I'm going to do a full review on this in another video as well. But I'm just going to show you how to set this up very quickly. Alright, so I've set up the strike wedge here, and we're aiming for this pin just on the right. So all I've done is, you've got the main strike wedge, and then you've got a ruler here, and I've set it up so it's at 3 inches, the centre of the ball, 3 inches ahead of the base of the strike wedge. And all we're going to try do is hit a few shots where we're trying to get ball first contact and see how close we can get to this pin. I'm going to keep every single shot in here, so whether it's good or bad. Alright, and we're done. First one's great, we'll move on. So you go, we've got 3 good ones within about foot to 2 foot radius of the pin, and then we've got 1 thin. So that's what I'm trying to work on, is making sure that when I'm doing these chips and pitching, which we'll go through after, is just making sure that the strike is consistent, hitting the ball first, ground second. So this is a closer look at those shots I just hit. I'm going to use a wedge as an example of how close that is. But then you have these 3, and then the one you saw on camera that was thin. So this is the one we're trying to avoid, because we're trying to get as many into that tight dispersion so that we can get up and down more often. Okay, so we're going to go for another fairly easy chip to the pin just in front. So it's the same thing, I've got the strike wedge set up on line with where I'm trying to aim. Then I've got the ruler at the side lined up to 3 inches. So again, we're trying to get ball first contact and trying to avoid hitting the strike wedge on the way down. So we managed it on that one. I think I've called it just a little thin. So we're probably about 6 foot past the pin. So it's still within a chance of an up and down. We'd like to be a lot closer than that from an easy chip. So that one's actually hit the strike wedge. It's a lot better than the first one. So third shot. That was the best strike so far, which is way too much power. So we've got to focus on making sure we're hitting the shots with the right speed, right distance control, as well as hitting the right ball before ground. So that last one was really good. It's come up short, but again, we're within about a club length outside of the hole. You're going to see me using the strike wedge in the next couple of clips. Here I'm using a 56-degree wedge to a pin that's about 45 yards away. All I'm doing is working on getting good contact, getting the ball first so I can control the distance and the flight. While these clips are running, I want to talk about what's coming up on this channel, as it's the first video I've uploaded. And I'm going to talk about this in 2 ways of what's to be expected if you're looking at that subscribe button and trying to think if you're going to click it or not. So the first thing I want to do is ensure that you as a golfer can improve and score lower rounds. The way we're going to do this is documenting all of the lessons I'm taking, playing lessons, and playing with other golfers who might be scratch or club professionals. Because what I want to do is highlight things that I'm finding in my swing and my game that I'm being challenged by. And you might find those are issues in your game as well. So we're going to work through ways that we can improve on them and score lower rounds. The second thing with any YouTube channel is to entertain. So I'm going to do a whole series on trying to reach scratch. We're going to play with other golfers. And again, I want to create great content around courses around the UK, some that you might have already played, some you might not have. And over time, I want to get more competitive. And the idea is eventually we're going to start playing in some tournaments as well and film those. So if you haven't already, click like and subscribe.